Roast presented by GhostBed.com. Welcome to the College Football Pick'em Show, kids. As always, we're brought to you by MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros will double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Get off the couch and get into the action today at MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros will double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. We had a little bit of movement at the top here, D'Anthony.
A bowel movement, yeah.
Yeah, we sure did. We sure did. Tennessee, dude, is just absolutely dumping out all over opponents right now, and they've moved into a tie for number 2 with Ohio State. So this weekend's matchup against Georgia will be a 1-2 matchup. Now, I agree with it. I actually think Tennessee should be ahead of Ohio State. I'm not really sure what the tie is for, and that's just based on their schedule. They've played a lot of tough teams that are ranked so far.
I think the tie is to you wrap it around your neck and choke yourself while you're masturbating, is what I'm told.
It's a Bourdain?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever it is, it's great, and I don't mind it. And all the little cheat codes you want to use to have fun throughout the week. I get into the pageantry and the magic of it, so I love it. And I also think genuinely Tennessee is the second overall team. Hard to knock Georgia out of that top spot after repeating, and then
we'll see.
They bashed somebody's dick in last week.
Yeah, but their leading edge rusher, linebacker, he's out. Nolan Smith, I think his name is.
Sure is.
He's out for the year now.
Oh, for the year.
Yep.
So I know he's going to be out for this game, but he's out for the year now. That's a big deal. But they bashed the dicks in of Florida over the weekend, and whew, it was close. It was close because we took this on the show. Do you remember? 23.5 was the spread, and I was pooping my little pants towards the end.
I took it to 29.5, so I was safe.
Well, I did that in a teaser, but also I had it straight up on this one, and
I didn't.
They covered by 1.5. So shout out to Florida for at least doing something there. That kid is fun to watch. That Richardson kid. They need to get him some help because it's just him. He's on an island down there. But fun matchup, and they smashed the. I mean, this looks like the Georgia team that's number 1. I mean, they smashed the shit out of them. So I understand it. Georgia being at 1, Tennessee at 2. Tennessee last week, my God, man. I mean, they fucking rolled Kentucky. Why is nobody guarding the Hyatt kid? Just put 4 people on Hyatt. I don't really understand it.
I mean, do you ever wonder if some idiot used to say, "Why isn't anybody guarding Michael Jordan?"
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Is he that? Is he that great?
Clearly, he is.
I'm just seeing him get so open on all these plays, and I'm like, dude, what are we doing? Because even the announcers were shocked in that game. They were like, "How do you let the one guy get by you?" Like, I don't know. I don't really get it.
Kentucky's usually got a pretty good defense. How's their secondary this year? You two? It's
not great. No, I mean,
their defense is just like good.
It's mid. It's nothing shitty. It's nothing great. But their secondary sucks. But even when you and I saw Tennessee in person, with this kid, he's good, but not like. One of the best ones I've ever seen was Devonta Smith, where it was like just these quick routes where you couldn't guard that guy because of how fast he was. Hyatt isn't the same as that, and I'm like, just put 3 bodies on.
Well, it may be something. It may be something different because if you look at his game log from this year, he had a big game earlier in the season against Akron, but who cares about that? But his last 3 games, the first of which was against Alabama, where he put up 207 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's getting extremely open, so it's either their system or he's a really good route runner,
right?
Because he isn't particularly fast compared to some of the other guys we see at the top of the list in college football right now.
Right.
And maybe part of it is the quarterback getting him the ball in the right spot, or maybe the quarterback's read progression is really solid and he's not tipping his passes and stuff. There's a lot of things that go into that. But Delco might be in trouble because if Hyatt puts up fucking 1,700 yards and fucking 25 touchdowns. I don't care what the quarterback did. He's probably going to win the Heisman Trophy.
I know. I'm still in with Hooker. I got Hooker at 1 there, and I got Stroud at 2, Hyatt at 3. Right now, this could all change after Georgia. I mean, if he puts on a monster performance against Georgia, looking down the rest of this, because I think their schedule eases up at that point, Tennessee, right?
This is their last real game. Yeah,
they play until the SEC championship.
They play like Missouri and
Missouri's terrible.
Some other bullshit.
South
teams.
Carolina's terrible. Oh, and then Vanderbilt. Yeah, they're undefeated going into the SEC championship if they win this game, which I actually think they will this week. But we'll get to that in a minute. First up, you guys know the rules. We go over last week's good and bad, and tell you what we did great, and then what we beefed it with. Utah versus Washington State. Wanted to bet this one and pulled out at the last seconds. Risen got hurt, their quarterback.
I still took it at -0 though.
I didn't take it. What happened to Risen? What happened to that kid? The quarterback there. I didn't hear that he was injured, and then right before kickoff they were talking about it, and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna pull this bet now.
Is it Andre Risen's kid?
No, it's a white kid.
How do you know that?
It's Cam Rising.
Yeah, it's Cam Rising.
Rising,
like rising from Christ.
Rising sun.
Yeah.
Christ will rise again. Yeah. What was his injury? Because right when I tuned in, I was about to click it on my bookie, and then the spread went all over the place, and I was like, oh shit! And then the game was gone.
It says right here his butthole got ripped completely out of his body.
Did it really?
Yeah, he was up in Montana chasing elk.
Okay.
And one of them just caught him with a.
Yeah.
Just caught him.
And his whole anus ripped out.
Yeah, he ripped the whole thing out. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm told I haven't seen any pictures yet, but the report says that the elk is now wearing his anus around like a sombrero.
Okay. All right.
Kind of weird. I mean, it's a weird choice.
Well, look.
Although it's starting to get cold up there, so maybe that's got something to do with it.
Yeah, and if you're in the area up there and you got some picks, we'd love to see him, obviously. So feel free with that. What happened to Cam Rising?
He just sat out the game because he felt injured. I'm not really seeing what exactly was wrong.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? He just felt injured?
Like there was discomfort somewhere, and he was like, I don't think I can go today.
Well, that's probably not accurate, but Utah's just not being very forthcoming with the information.
It's AIDS.
Did he have a fucking baby?
Might have.
Do you think he gave birth?
Like a butt baby?
No.
Have
men can give birth now.
No, they can't.
Yeah, we have an emoji for it, so it's real.
No,
sorry.
That's not real. But they do make a product. The Hodge twins did a good little bit on it, where it's a fucking plastic baby that dudes can put up their butts and give birth to.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's for sale. But that was a strange game. And who was it? Jared's girlfriend was in there. She was the one that was talking about it.
She's a
diehard Washington State
Cougs fan. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess
she graduated from there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And I told her, look, you're probably gonna have to go to grad school if you want to actually watch football every week. So
according to Twitter, he had a noticeable limp and wrapped knee before the game.
But how do you know it's not a pimp limp?
Yeah.
Right? How do you know he just wasn't putting out the fucking vibe?
Did he have a cane too, like a diamond cane?
Yeah. If you see a cane and it's one that looks utilitarian, the guy probably is really injured. But if you see a cane and it's all like sparkly and shit, that's for show. That's not real.
That's a pimp limp.
Yeah.
So
can we find out?
Let us know.
Let's send some people to Utah and find out.
Yeah. Is he Crips or Bloods? What is Cam Rising?
They're red.
They're red, yeah. So they're Bloods.
I don't think so. That's actually
the colors choose you, friend.
That's an interesting question. So if you're a fucking Crip, do you go to Boise State or something where the blue field?
Oh yeah, you have to Smurf turf, dog.
Right? Yeah. Like if you let me ask you this: sure. You're a young, up and coming high school football player, but you're connected, right, to one of these organizations. And you start getting recruited. Do you tell them like, yeah, sorry, Alabama can't do it. I'm fucking Crip. Like I'm gonna get shot. I can't do this.
I tell you what, I wouldn't surprise me.
I would just love to hear that conversation between Texas. A guy and Saban. Like he's just a top recruit. He's like, sir, I just can't.
Yeah, I can't do it, dude.
And then Saban somehow does a deal between the Crips and Bloods to make it happen. Because if anybody could do it, it's the fucking devil himself.
Yeah, right? For sure. For sure. But Utah won, just a fucking middle-of-the-road program. Nobody cares. NC State, this one, man, what the fuck happened here? They had to come back. They were down by 11 going into the fourth. And they ended up scoring 12 to win this game over Virginia Tech. It was terrible.
I ended up not betting this. I don't know. I just got a weird feeling about it.
I did. I lost. I lost on this game. Georgia, Florida, won on that one. All good. Ohio State. This was my game of the week. Thank you, Ohio State Buckeyes. I was down in the morning games. I lost. I put a fuck ton on Syracuse beating Notre Dame. You stayed away from that game, and you said on the show last week, and you're like, I'm not touching this bullshit.
No.
I wish I didn't. That was in all my fucking parlays, and it boned me. So with Ohio State, the same thing I told you last week. It is always a tough game against Penn State. It is usually a one-score game. Do not take the 16.5. Tease it down. Not only did we win the teaser, but then I had 2 live lines in Drinkin' Bros Sports. If you're not in there, it's free on Facebook. You can see the bet slips in real time. So when I bet these live lines, I'll put the bet slips in there. So at halftime, Ohio State dropped down to -4.5. I put 500 on that at halftime. That one. And then in the fourth quarter, the live line was +2.5 for Ohio State. I put 500 on that one. Wild game, 45 points total scored in the fourth quarter of this one. Fun to watch if you're just a fan. But Stroud didn't look that great in the first half. Ohio State had a lot of people out. They got to figure it the fuck out. Luckily, they don't play anyone until Michigan. So, you're going to have time. Tennessee absolutely shit-pumped Kentucky. 44-6 in that game. Just amazing. Hyatt, 138 yards, two tutties. Hooker had 3 touchdowns. This wasn't close. I mean, it was 27-6 at halftime in this game.
Yeah, they kind of let off the gas somewhere in the middle of the third quarter,
but they should have, because they're playing Georgia next week.
Yeah.
So I don't fault them for that.
No.
I mean, they laid it on them 44-6. You're good at that point. Might as well keep Hooker and them healthy. Michigan against Michigan State. What a bizarre game this was. There's going to be criminal charges filed in this. How bad was it, that the fight? Did that kid lose teeth or something?
Yeah, I'm told that he had his entire asshole ripped out.
Okay, so the same injury as the other guy, huh?
Yeah, you almost wonder if the two are connected.
Maybe. I mean, at this point, you got to ask.
It's like a Utah quarterback and now a couple of players from Michigan. Are they working their way west to east?
Could be. Could be just dropping.
Is Ohio
anuses.
State next? You got to wonder.
It's going to be in 3 weeks.
I don't know what.
Let's see this footage here from the locker room.
Let's put this up on the screen, because it's fucking wild, man. Like, I don't know why dudes think they can just fucking smash some other person in the face and that's just going to be okay.
Well, it is football.
I mean, if you did it on the field, it's one thing, but once you get off the field, you're no longer protected by the game is still happening.
Right.
Nobody is, to my knowledge, I don't think anybody's ever been charged with a crime for charging the mound or fighting.
Yeah. They have.
When?
In a baseball game?
In a Major League Baseball game?
I don't know about baseball, but in hockey they have.
Yeah, but that was like Todd Bertuzzi fucking ruining somebody's life.
Yeah.
But not for fighting. It wasn't for fighting. It was
not for just regular fighting.
It was for coming up and checking him in the back of his skull.
Neck. Yeah.
And then 5 for fighting. Went over and played in the subway with for Ukraine.
Yeah.
If you remember that.
Did you hear the latest? Oh, we'll talk about it on Facebook.
Which one?
Apparently, Biden is real pissed off at Zelensky because he gave him a bunch of our money, and then he was like asking for $1 billion more, and he told him to go fuck himself.
Why not at that point? Who cares?
Yeah.
What's another $1 billion to Biden? What do we got here? Is this the fight bomb?
Are they stomping on a rival player? What the fuck?
Oh, you didn't see this?
Oh, there's worse videos too.
Oh, yeah.
There's another situation where they're like swinging their helmets at the one dude.
Yep.
I think NCAA and Big Ten probably need to shut down Michigan State for the year for something like that, right?
I agree, man. I mean,
just forfeit all of their games for the year. Like, you can't do it. What the fuck? What kind of...
Watch this.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Look, there's nothing the guy could have said that warrants this kind of behavior.
I mean, they're just bashing him in the head with a
That
helmet.
dude's definitely going to prison. That's assault with a deadly weapon.
Yeah, and I think that's what the charges are.
Good.
Let's see.
If you're a Michigan judge, you should definitely not let him off and give him probation and shit. Put that motherfucker in jail.
All right. So, yeah, Harbaugh says he's expecting criminal charges, and he expects all the players to be charged. An apology will not get the job done, obviously, is what he said there. I wonder what the charges would be, though, in something like that.
That's assault with a deadly weapon. Yeah.
Okay.
Any blunt instrument swung towards the neck or head is assault with a deadly weapon.
Okay.
And then the fact that there's more than one of them doing it at the same time, those are escalating charges as well. So what you would call special circumstances.
Okay.
So what will probably happen is these guys will get out with no bail because of the cash bail laws in Michigan, and then probably drive to San Francisco and attack Paul Pelosi in their underwear.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
I mean, look, I don't know.
Look, no one never knows here.
But there has been a rash of weird behavior. Like multiple people have had their assholes ripped out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking weird.
It's everywhere, man. Yeah. They're doing a full police investigation now. It says they're going through the footage still and deciding what to charge these kids with. Were they suspended? Do we know that?
4 of them were suspended. I believe,
were,
yeah,
for indefinitely.
But to be honest, if I'm the coach of Michigan State, or if I'm the athletic director, or the NCAA, or the Big Ten, or whomever, I look around at all the players watching them do that shit, and they're all fucking suspended too. That's why I'm saying they should just shut this team down for the year. None of those kids deserve to be on the fucking field. Like you are responsible for the behavior of people around you when you're all wearing the same shit.
Right.
If one of my fucking soldiers starts walking through fucking people up for no reason, I'm going to whip his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just not acceptable behavior.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if something like that happened. Man, that's a wild one, man. What were they doing in the same tunnel?
I don't know that.
You and I were talking about that too.
And I can't imagine after this much of a shellacking, what could the Michigan players have said? Like, Michigan State did not expect to win this game.
Well, here's the thing. So it was actually very, very close game. So it was, I think it was 13-7 at halftime, which isn't bad, considering Michigan's number 4 in the country and Michigan State is awful. And then they went into the locker room. So I mean, it was a close game in halftime during this altercation. Still unclear who started it.
I don't.
You don't think the so what happens if the Michigan kid was mouthing off to him?
Who gives
cares?
a shit?
You can't fucking swing a helmet at somebody's head because your butt hurt. Somebody's head.
I haven't watched a lot of Michigan State games this year, but this strikes me as just like their coach is on the hot seat. This strikes me as the type of team that's just like a fucking mess behind closed doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How does the coach still have his job?
Well, here's the thing. So the coach just signed a massive deal before this season, Bob. Look up Mel Tucker. I forget what he signed on for, but it was a massive deal. So they would have to eat a lot of money for this.
Not if they're firing because he's allowing his people to attack other people. There's got to be some kind of morality clause.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
$95 million. I think
Holy shit!
contract.
Mel Tucker got $95 million.
10 years, $95 million.
Because he was using them. He was using the LSU job as like a chip.
Fuck that, dude! You don't pay $95 million to Mel Tucker, for Christ's sakes. Gross. Does that make you want to throw up? We got a listener in the studio over there. Does that make you want to throw up all over your balls and your ding dong? It makes me. Next up was TCU, West Virginia. TCU still undefeated. I think that ends next week or in a couple weeks here. We'll talk about that in a sec. Oregon, California, nobody cares because it's the Pac-12. And,
Oregon's number 8 in the country.
Don't
right
care.
now,
Nobody fucking cares. You got to put one of those teams in there. So it's like, all right, sweet.
I mean, there's currently 3 Pac-12 teams in the top 10.
Yeah, but USC
USC
is actually good, and
So is
UCLA is
UCLA,
pretty
and so
good.
is
yeah.
Oregon.
Oregon's not bad. They're just like super inconsistent, but that's the Pac-12, right?
It's the Pac-12. I don't use after that UCLA loss. I don't know if either of those two teams are good. USC to me is very good, but yeah, fucking what did Kalen Williams have? 400 yards and 5 touchdowns again? Jesus Christ. Next up was this Oklahoma State thing. Look, we've said this about the Big 12 and how awful it is. Still fucking awful. I can't remember. And I don't think it's ever happened, and I think we talked about it yesterday, but Oklahoma State scored 0 points, and they're a top 10 team. I don't recall that ever happening before.
No, I think it was the margin of victory. Top 10 teams get shut out all the time.
Really?
That happened in a national championship game.
Who was it?
LSU got shut out by fucking.
Oh, well, that was what, 9-0? Like, that was a fucking awful game anyways. So was the regular season
Well, what I'm
game
telling
that
you
year.
is shutouts happen all the time with
Okay.
top 10 teams.
But
It was
48
the margin of
48
victory.
to
Yeah.
0. Gross. To Kansas
What
State.
did anybody watch this game? What the fuck happened, man? I mean, I know that K-State is a difficult place to play sometimes when they're good, and they seem like they're kind of good this year, but this is bad.
They weren't ready for Will Howard.
No,
He was
they really
balling
weren't.
out.
They really
Down in
weren't.
town, Pennsylvania's own. Will Howard. Let's go.
He didn't even throw for 300 yards, but their run game did pretty well.
So I had this was one in my morning games as well. I got fucking nuked. Next up, same thing. I had Wake Forest in my morning games. Also, you said not to bet this game. Smart. Look, Wake Forest is one of those weird teams. Every year we got two weird teams that kind of just never miss for me and guide me to victory every year. In the NFL, it's been the Eagles so far. I've bet on the Eagles almost every single weekend. They've never let me down. And the Bills. And taking those teasers with them, those two teams in the NFL, good to go all year.
Yeah.
Wake Forest was one of those for me. Good to go all year until this.
This should have been. You should have seen red flags
Man.
here though, because Louisville fucking chucks it, man, and that's the kind of team that Wake Forest isn't good against.
They do, but Hartman chucks it. So I thought it would
He
be
does,
a
but it's
high-scoring
like
game.
No, but the odds of you winning go way down because Wake Forest doesn't have a great defense. So if they're off schedule scoring wise, they're going to get blown the fuck out against a team like this.
And they did. They did. Next up was USC.
This one was surprising because USC's defense has been relatively decent most of the year against bad teams. They've had a couple of spots, but Arizona fucking sucks.
Arizona's much improved. especially from
Arizona
last year.
fucking
No,
sucks.
They're 1-4 in the Pac-12, dude.
they were 1-11 last year, and they
And
just
they're on their way again.
Just because they're better
They're well
than
on
last
their way
year
to
doesn't mean
that.
they don't suck.
They're only 6 losses away from that. They'll be fucking 1-11. Give them
they're
time.
much better.
Give them time.
No,
They'll
they've
be
won
1-11.
They've won 3 games this year, but USC.
Who are the 3 wins?
I don't know.
Let me pull this.
Nobody
up
that
here.
matters, but-
San Diego State, North Dakota State, which is Division II.
Who's a tough team?
And
you
then
should
Colorado.
you should never schedule North Dakota State as a Division I team. You just shouldn't. They've beaten Iowa. They've beaten a bunch of Big Ten teams.
Well, Arizona won that game. Though.
They won that game.
But anyways, yeah, you expect more out of USC than this, to be honest.
I don't. I think
Not
they're-
Well,
on the road.
I think they're overrated.
Is it the Pac-12 though? Like, are we just doing the same shit we talk about every year with the Pac-12? And maybe we are. They've got some great players.
Yeah, they have a lot of great players on offense. Their defense is performed pretty well, but I don't know. Maybe it's not that good.
It's not that good. but
UCLA's defense has been pretty good. Most
They
of the year.
always have enough offense to beat these teams, except for that Utah game, and they were gassed in the fourth quarter. In that, Caleb Williams was breathing really fucking heavy. A lot of those players were. Next up was Stanford UCLA.
Oh wait, so
People care.
Bill on this Michigan State thing, Bill Schofield says it's possible that the kid was being attacked by bees and the other players were trying to help him.
Maybe. And you don't want to rule that out. Maybe
No.
that's why there's been no charges.
That's why whenever I start wailing on homeless people, I just yell bees over and over.
Bees! There's bees on them.
Yeah.
Bees everywhere.
And then when the cops show up, I'm like, look, dude, check for stings.
Check my nuts for stings. Stanford UCLA, again, 2 teams, no one cares.
Top 10 team.
No.
They are.
No, they're not. It's just you're out of teams at this point, and you're just putting people in there.
So you just don't pay attention to 99% of football.
I pay attention to the good teams, and these teams will never win.
So you pay attention to 4 teams.
Yeah, pretty much. At this point, I wouldn't flip this on. I wouldn't flip on UCLA Stanford. Did you?
Yeah, I constantly go back and forth between games. It depends what time
Regale me on your story about UCLA Stanford. How was it? How did their quarterback look?
UCLA is always just going to be, like, especially with Chip. Chip's running the ball. He's going to be fast. He's going to be quick. He's going to be high-paced. And Stanford's not very good this year. They haven't been good in a long time.
They're fucking terrible. 1-5 in the Pac-12. That's why I'm not watching this shit.
They beat Notre Dame, though.
Notre Dame sucks, though,
Notre
too.
Dame
this year.
sucks.
Notre
man.
Dame just knocked off
Syracuse.
Syracuse.
They didn't knock off Syracuse. They played Syracuse, and Syracuse sucks. Like, if Syracuse was good, they would have beat Clemson because Clemson didn't even play well in that game.
I mean, right now, we all know that there's only 5 teams that have a chance at the title, right? That's 5. That's it. 5 teams. Who else? Who do you put in? Who else do you put in?
I mean, if Oregon runs the table, they're.
Oh my God.
No, we're not talking about getting into the CFP because any kind of weird shit can happen, and the number 4 team could be one of those shitty teams that shouldn't, like Clemson or Oregon or somebody like that. But winning, no fucking chance.
No chance.
Oregon has literally a 0% chance of winning the national title.
Why? I mean,
because they're not good.
They played Georgia when they had a bunch of new kids that were transfers, brand new coach. Yeah, it takes time to click. Like, you're not going to be immediately good. You play fucking the number 1 team in the country your first game as a brand new team. No, yeah, you're going to look like shit.
Bo Nix was terrible at Auburn, and now he's the quarterback at Oregon.
And he got better.
No,
He
he's
did.
playing against shittier competition.
No,
and
he
it's
got
smart.
better.
It's smart. Leave the SEC. Try to go for numbers. At least in the Pac-12, you can do shit like this all day long. And then when he went back to the SEC, what happened? He got fucking destroyed.
As his first game as an Oregon.
Tough shit. You had all fucking summer to prepare for it, and you lost. You got your fucking brain stomped in. Sorry that you had an entire summer.
Just like you don't give a shit about any football. You just
It's
care
not
about,
that. I care
4
about
fucking teams.
good football. I care about great football. I'm a Falcons fan, and I think that team fucking sucks. And I wouldn't spend one goddamn second of my life watching a shitty football team, including my own. And that's the difference. I like football, but great football. These other people, holy shit.
What other people?
Oregon, California, fucking Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Who gives a shit? I bet on them because I want to win money, but in real life, none of these teams have a chance to win. Maybe if Georgia goes down in a Marshall incident and the whole fucking plane crashes into the ground and they all die,
well, I think,
then Oregon gets in and then they might win a fucking national championship, but not in this lifetime.
I think Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State would all have to be flying
together, yeah.
somewhere
in private
somehow.
jets. They had to be hijacked by Saudis and driven into buildings.
You can't really believe that Oregon can beat one of those other 3 teams for the national title, right?
I can believe they can be in the national championship.
Yeah, no. We didn't. That's not what we're saying. That's the same as
Can
being
they
in the
win?
CFP.
Does that mean they're irrelevant, though? If they're in the fucking playoff, are they irrelevant?
Well, that
No.
wasn't. No, they're not irrelevant. That just wasn't the conversation we were having.
Not at all. They just can't win. They can't win a title.
You were sort of having that conversation, but I
Fuck them. They lost to Georgia. Georgia's won in the nation for a reason. Because they beat this fucking shitty team.
Yeah, but
What
you
happens
think
if
but
they beat the fuck out of Tennessee?
Yeah, you think that's a good question, but you think that Tennessee is going to beat Georgia?
Yes.
So then what does that say about there's no transitive property in sports?
Not at all. I think Tennessee is that good. I think Tennessee is great. Watching them is great football. I mean, it is fun to watch.
I can't imagine what you had to say was important enough to require you to run over to the microphone.
If you make it to the dance, you got a chance.
No, you sure don't. Look at last year.
Tell that to Notre Dame every time they've been in the CFP.
Year.
They get their fucking ass handed to them in the first round every single time.
Look at last year. Both of those teams, we bet the house against who were the 2 teams last year? Michigan. That game was over maybe 10 minutes in. What was it? 35-0. Georgia
Didn't Cincinnati
beat
cover?
their face in.
Yeah. Cincinnati looked fucking pretty good in
Their
that first
defense
game,
looked decent, but I actually thought Cincinnati was a good fucking football team.
Yeah.
The only surprise in that was Ritter not at 6'5", not being able to throw over linemen. That was a shock to me. But I thought they were a really good fucking football team, and I thought they deserved to be in it.
Yeah, Ritter, if they had anybody that was competent at quarterback, they probably had a good shot at winning that game, to be honest, but they did not.
And like further proof, we were talking about Charlie Puth earlier.
Charlie Puth.
Yeah, Puth on this. Is this Wake Forest? They were ranked number 10 in the nation. And that got raped by 27 points.
But that's just like anybody outside of the top fucking 7, probably.
That's what I'm saying. Top 5. That's what we're looking at.
But then why even watch college football?
I watch the great teams.
Yeah.
I watch the greatness.
That's not the point. Like 4 teams realistically have a chance every year to win a national championship. But if that's all you care about, you shouldn't be a college football fan.
Why not?
Why not? I went to one of the best schools in the nation.
Cool.
Maybe
You didn't. I'm sorry. You'll never win a fucking title. You will never compete for one. That will just never be on the fucking table.
Awesome. I went to a fucking school that I decided I wanted to go to for 4 years. I didn't care about the football team.
Let's take the aggressiveness out of that voice. You're not winning any titles either. The boys you root for are
Who?
you, like the children you root for.
Oh, no, and that's fine, but I went to school there. I picked it because it was a good football team, and I wanted to cheer for something the rest of my life. other than participation, other than I'm here. Hi, everyone, I'm here, and we're doing stuff.
There's 120 schools in
You're a-
Division I football.
You're a fan. The only thing you do is participation.
Yeah, that's all you do.
But that's what I'm saying. But I want to root for greatness. That's it. Like,
Well, it has been 9 years.
yeah, it's been 9
Since
years.
they won a title.
It's been 9 years. I mean, they've gone to the playoffs, 5 fucking times or whatever it is.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the landscape of college football is going to change dramatically when Saban leaves.
So I think it's going to change when the NIL really kicks in and they start buying good players.
Maybe.
I think if one of these schools like a Miami can really start paying people off, I think that's when it will change. Until then, we're still left with the 5 fucking teams that we've always talked about with one mystery, right? Every year it's kind of one mystery. This year it's Tennessee.
Well, no, they're going to 8 teams, right?
They're going to go to 12.
Oh shit, it's 12.
Yeah, and look at your competition here.
Oh, so let's do a thought.
So UCLA would be in there. Wake Forest would be in there.
Well, that's why. Let's do a thought experiment since you guys are both being cunts to each other today. Let's map this year's performance onto the 12-team playoff. Is there any chance in that scenario, like somebody like Oregon sneaks through?
None, absolutely none.
Delco.
So that would.
I mean, they still have to end up playing one of the better teams, but the more games there are, the more chance there is that one of the better teams is going to get hit by somebody else, right?
That would mean 4 Pac-12 teams would get in.
Correct.
Yeah.
So is there a chance that they would sneak in to win an Natty?
Probably. I mean, that's technically a 1/3 chance just on raw numbers, right?
But like, if you finish the season, it wouldn't end that way because you'd have the Pac-12 champion, and then a lot of these teams would probably drop down, and you would probably go with conference champions.
Yeah, like Penn State would probably sneak back up there if they don't lose another game.
So winning the Pac-12 probably wouldn't get you a bye this year. Actually, it might get you a bye this year.
It should. You'd be in wait, no,
because there's going to be 4 byes.
But take Penn State's a great example. So. Hey, but Penn State's a great example, right? So they got beat by Ohio State. They got thrashed by Michigan. Mm-hmm. Do you want to see that team in the playoffs?
I mean,
there is something to what Giorgio said, like just getting in. I mean, it's different for different sports. Did you expect, like the 2008 Patriots that went undefeated to get fucking smoked early on in the playoffs? No. Like that team looked unbeatable.
Or
sometimes it happens. I mean,
think that's the one that lost in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right?
No, they lost in the second round or some shit. Or
the Patriots.
The Patriots lost in the Super Bowl.
The one that went 16-0.
David,
they lost to the Giants.
Yeah, they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl on that David Tyree catch.
They were 9-7 in a wild card team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're just essentially college football is just getting more NFL-esque because in the NFL, you really do just need to punch your ticket.
Yeah.
Look at, the Bengals last year were a play away from winning the fucking Super Bowl, and they were shitty all year.
You add more games, that's going to increase injury. That's going to.
Yeah, but to me, then you're still at these top 5 teams again because everybody's got 5 stars sitting on the bench. Ohio State's a perfect example. Half those motherfuckers are injured, and they're just throwing in 5 stars that are putting up monster games.
I mean, I don't think things change that much for the SEC and maybe, I guess, the Big Ten. But for a team like Clemson, for example, they're going to there's going to be 2 or 3 games towards the end of their season that aren't going to be the cupcake games they played all year.
Right.
And maybe that's good and maybe it's bad. I mean, one of the big rubs on them is that they come into the CFP without having played anybody, and you don't know how they're going to perform.
Same with Ohio State, though. I mean, shit, they got Michigan.
And Penn State.
And Penn State are the only 2 games on their schedule. I mean, they would have thought Notre Dame probably would have at the beginning of the season.
We
but
don't
next year they've got
Clemson because they're going to lose to this week against Notre Dame.
They might, actually. I'm not 100% sure that Clemson's going to win this game.
Clemson is one of those teams I'm not even fucking sure if they'll make it.
Yeah.
I think the scenario that we pitched yesterday is probably the most likely, but we'll see this week. We'll go through the rest of these. Illinois, Nebraska. Sure.
That's my team of chaos that I want.
Which one?
Ruin everything.
Illinois? Yeah.
I want Illinois to ruin
That would be
everything.
really funny if they won the Big Ten. If they just beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, that'd be so
Michigan.
goddamn funny. Or Michigan, yeah, either way.
Yeah, they can't beat. We talked about this yesterday, right? They can't beat Ohio State, but they could beat.
They
Michigan.
could beat Michigan.
Why? What's the matchup there?
Defense.
Same
so
style,
Illinois
same
got
style.
a different. I mean, they got a similar scheme. So yeah.
Michigan's a run first team.
Yeah, and Illinois
Very
plays
heavily.
very similarly. You can kind of reduce possessions, make things a little wacky.
It would be like a sloppy game
Yeah.
where Ohio State would run them off the field.
Yeah. Speaking of running off the field, I mean, Cincinnati, I thought they would score more points against UCF than 21. What happened here? I'm sure you watched this game.
Our defense is solid.
It's okay. This whole entire Cincinnati team was built on seniors last year, so they all graduated.
Yeah, but
it's all new people.
We're also one of the highest ranked red zone defenses in the country.
The quarterback for Cincinnati had a pretty good game. I mean,
also Mikey Keene came in, so Plumlee actually got concussed, so he lowered his head. I think he got a targeting penalty on himself as a quarterback, which was weird.
Yeah, it happens. That's going to happen.
That's stupid.
And
so
then concussed himself, and then Mikey Keene, our backup, who's an actual quarterback, came in and won the game.
So Cincinnati's guy, their quarterback threw for 300 yards, but only 1 touchdown. So that supports the red zone defense claim.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams. Whatever. All these kids are freshmen for Cincinnati. If I was Luke Fickell, I would have taken that money and just left and gone to the big program. But he still might this year. They're 6-2, which is fine, and then 3-1 in whatever conference that is.
Is Cincinnati moving to the Big 12 also?
Yeah. So they're going to be our rival.
So Cincinnati, UCF, who else?
Houston and BYU.
I'm sure these big schools are going to come after Fickell, though. The head coach of Cincinnati.
Maybe. It's Cincinnati. What's their endowment like? Are they able to spend money there?
Not really.
Cincinnati's it's a large state school, but I don't know how well endowed it is.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably needs to not pull a Matt Campbell, where it's just like he's the hot candidate every year and he just stays at Iowa State until Iowa State reverts to Iowa State.
And I believe the same thing. He's got to get out of there.
Yeah, but you also don't want to Scott Frost it. Like, he had a perfect job at UCF, and you go to Nebraska, and now he's butt-fucked out of the league. You know what I mean?
He was going home, though.
I understand that, dude, but, like, home is where the heart is.
Yeah, it sure is.
Is what I'm told.
Sure is.
Should have stayed in Florida. Do you disagree with that? Should he not have stayed in Florida?
Yeah, he probably should have stayed.
Because UCF, honestly, I like UCF as a program more than I like Nebraska. Nebraska hasn't been good in a long-ass time. And say what you want about UCF, but they did go undefeated. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And they play in a conference that has a ton of people that can score a fuckload of points, and they seem to do better than most in that conference. It's like the Big 12, basically.
Yeah, well, they'll be in the Big 12.
Yeah, at this point, this is almost like a lateral transfer for them from one conference to another.
Yeah, it's a lateral move.
So why the fuck would you go to goddamn Nebraska? Is he from Nebraska originally, or did he just play football?
He played football
won a
there.
national championship.
I know he played football there. I'm asking you.
Yeah,
if
he won a
actually
national
grew up
championship there.
Hold on. Let's see where he's
He was
at.
a hero.
Yes, he was born in Lincoln.
He was a hero.
I mean, I guess
He was born in the capital. He was on a field trip. His mom had him inside the capital.
Does he get another job?
Scott Frost?
Yeah.
Maybe at a high school.
No,
I think
smaller
he'll.
school.
High school level.
Why a smaller school though? I mean, don't you think Nebraska was just corrupt from the inside out?
You gotta. It's like Hollywood jail. You gotta go to a shitty school like a Liberty, right?
After you
Hugh Freeze.
After you get caught saying the N-word, you gotta
go. You gotta go.
Do a shitty roll first.
He'll end up being like an offensive analyst for Alabama.
Maybe.
Making no money.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then Missouri won.
North Carolina fucking smoked Pitt.
They did.
I really
four
thought
losses for Pitt.
I thought Pitt was going to be better. Their run game. I mean, this kid Anaconda or whatever the fuck his name is a great running back. He is so good, and they can't win fucking games, man. They're 1-3 in the ACC.
Yeah. This May kid who's the QB of North Carolina. I watched him.
Yeah, he looks pretty good, man.
Slang that dick around.
I've been hearing his name ring out quite a bit lately.
He had 5 touchdowns.
It's Luke May's brother.
Yeah.
He won a national championship for basketball.
Sure did.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah. And then Missouri beats South Carolina, and congratulations there.
Good win, but they didn't deserve to be ranked. They ran out of teams to rank.
Sure did. They sure did.
That's what they
Which
did
is
this
the point
week.
that Ross, I believe, was making earlier.
Yep. There's just
You don't run out of teams for the top 10 though, but there is the top, like the second half of the rankings this year are pretty spurious. Like it's
But that's always the case, isn't it? I mean,
Sometimes
every now and again you'll get down to 13 or 15 with pretty good teams, but it's not been like that for a while, has it?
But sometimes, you gotta have expectations. You get hyped up for a bowl game. You get hyped up for like a conference championship, a division championship. We can't all be Ohio State, okay?
not that.
North Carolina's up to 17 now, and they're probably going to win out, right?
I think they can beat Clemson for sure.
A lot of these other teams.
I think
but
UNC is probably your best bet at beating Clemson this year.
They don't play Clemson.
Well, they will in the ACC title game.
Yeah, so that'll be. But they play Virginia, then they play Wake Forest. I don't think Wake Forest is going to be ranked by them, so that game probably won't matter. Then they play Georgia Tech. Then they play NC State, and I don't think NC State will be ranked by then either.
If they win the ACC, do they get in? if they just run the table?
Probably. Yes.
got
I think
smoked by Notre Dame.
I think that would
Yeah, they
squeeze
did.
out if they go undefeated, that'll squeeze out one of those 3 SEC teams for sure.
If they have only the one loss against, even though Notre Dame sucks, they actually have come on recently. So if Notre Dame ends up ranked, that might make a difference for them. Yeah. It's hard to say.
Well, so look, if they beat Clemson, they'll definitely be.
I think we'll know more tonight. So 7 p.m. Eastern tonight is when the CFP rankings first come out. And we'll know kind of how the CFP feels about it, because that's not necessarily a mathematical equation. It's 14 dick holes in a room.
Right. Right.
So we'll see how they feel about these teams, because they go on like, you'll see like these rankings right here, the AP rankings, they're using a point system. That doesn't account for like injuries that have happened recently or players that are coming back or momentum or any of that shit. I think the CFP rankings are going to be a little more telling than this.
Yeah, we'll find out tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Hard not to put UGA at 1, Tennessee at 2. Actually, Tennessee's got a harder schedule. I'd put Tennessee at 1 if I'm the CFP right now.
I bet they do.
Yeah, I bet they do too.
I mean, they do
have the hardest schedule.
They do take that into account. But so does the AP ranking. They account for strength of schedule, right?
Sure.
So why, if that's the case, then why is Georgia currently ahead of them in the first place?
Great question. Because they've struggled in a couple games, whereas Tennessee is not. I mean, they have not struggled at all. That Alabama game was tough, but it's Alabama. I think Alabama was 1, right?
Georgia struggled at Missouri, but
and then Kent State.
Yeah, but they ended up winning that game by 17. They don't count end game struggles, just how it ends. You know what I mean? What about Tennessee? Who have they struggled against?
No one. Alabama was their only close game.
Alabama, yeah, I guess.
Before we get to this week's picks, kids, we're brought to you by MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros will double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Every line we read today, over, under, teasers, all that stuff will be from MyBookie.com. Promo code Drinkin Bros will double that first deposit all the way up to $1,000. And then join Drinkin Bros Sports on Facebook. Private group, it's free. All the bet slips go in there, so you'll see them. And then you can either tell me I suck or praise me. The night games, I was 7-0, and it was great. And it was a nice comeback for the day. And Ohio State's live lines, but I put Jake Paul in a tease over 3 other college teams, which was the grossest thing I've ever done. But he won. All that whole teaser card won. I mean, not teaser card. It was just a fucking parlay for that, and it was great. But first up, and DrinkinBrosTickets.com for all tickets to all these games. So like for our first game here, Oregon State. If you're going to see them at Washington, $22 on DrinkinBrosTickets.com. If you want to go get fucked up for this. Oregon State is number 24 in the nation. And it's 3.5 here for Washington. Washington's got that Penix kid. And by the way, if you're wondering why I care about the rest of college football, it's simply gambling at that point. Beyond the great teams, I don't really care. I care about money, which is why we do this. So same thing applies every single week. We don't like them. We don't pick them. Washington here against Oregon State. Do you trust either of these teams in the Trap 12?
No, not really. But they're not separated by that much in the AP rankings, to be honest. Washington's not ranked, but they're not too far behind. Right. They would be like 30th probably if in the rankings. So the over is interesting, taking it down to 50.5, because this is probably like a 35.
Probably a high-scoring game. Penix has got 3,000 yards passing this year and 22 TDs. Yep. He's looked pretty good. And that's why he got out of Indiana, so he could really put some numbers on the board. And then let's face it, that's why Bo Nix went to Oregon as well, to put some numbers on the board and hopefully get drafted by somewhere. But I don't touch this game. There'll be a Thursday night NFL game, and I probably won't even pop this on.
This will be fun. Dan's right. Washington's going to put up points, but Oregon State's also going to be able to throw the ball on Washington, who has one of the worst secondaries in the country.
They also play fast too, so there's a lot of time on the clock.
Well, there is rain in the forecast, so watch because if it's pouring, this could slow that down. So wait to see what the weather is. It's at Husky Stadium. Next up, Ohio State is at Northwestern. Spread is 38 on this one. My God, man. Nope. Too many. It's too high, dude. It's too many fucking points. Do they beat them by 50? Probably. But that's too many fucking points in that game. You know what's interesting here too is looking at these back-to-back quarterbacks. You know, fucking Penix is 700 yards more passing than Stroud.
Less touchdowns though.
I understand, but fuck, man.
Because Ohio State has a run game as well.
They do. I haven't been that great this year, but 2 games have been good. But yeah, 38 points. That's too much. I wouldn't even tease this up either, because even if you went to 45 on this,
yeah, it could be fucking 60-0.
Yeah, dude, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Is hot garbage.
Yeah.
This next one, this line doesn't. Delco, you're gonna have to tell me about this. Texas Tech at TCU. TCU minus 9.5. That seems a little low, to be honest.
I know why.
I think it'd be like 12.5.
I know why.
No. TCU keeps beating teams by 1 possession.
Yeah, and look, this Big 12.
But Texas Tech is not good.
No, but the Big
solid.
12 isn't good. So like these lines have been really close. If you look at that Oklahoma State game that I lost on last week,
I mean,
that
they're
was a really
losing-
close line as well. And I was like, dude, this is the number 9 team in the country. I was like, why is this a close line?
Man, Texas Tech has the worst schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll play at least 6 ranked teams this year.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're decent. They're not bad.
I know, but like that sucks for them because they're only decent and they're playing.
They're 4-4,
They're playing
yeah.
ranked teams every fucking week. Plus Baylor, who is pretty solid for not being ranked. God damn.
And TCU is playing the same schedule. The Big 12 is actually really deep.
Well, then they have to go at Iowa State too later in the year. Fuck, man, this sucks. Yeah, they're gonna go fucking. They might not win another game.
And Texas fans, by the way, because we have a lot of Texas listeners out there. I actually think you guys are going to beat TCU in a couple weeks. So at least you have that. That's going to be a home game here in Austin, too.
We'll see.
I
mean,
think
TCU's
they'll
been
beat
or
TCU.
Texas Tech's been keeping it pretty, except for against Baylor last week. They've been keeping it pretty close on their losses, even against ranked teams. It's been within 1 score.
Yeah. I think TCU,
two
though,
scores.
that's where they get tripped up down there. Didn't Texas Tech beat Texas earlier this year?
They beat
They
a
did.
couple of teams. They beat Texas. They beat Houston when they were ranked, which is interesting because Houston only scored 30 points in that game. Don't they usually run the score up?
Not this year.
Not
Not this year. They're not that good.
They're a bit of a mess, yeah.
They beat West Virginia by 38 points, though. That's pretty decent. I mean, not that West Virginia is great or anything, and it was at home, but West Virginia is a decent program.
Is this a rivalry? Tickets are very expensive for this. If you're going to the last row and drinkinbrostickets.com, $277.
Well, look, I mean, TCU's ranked 7th in the country. They're 8-0. It's what do you want to go to Arlington and watch the Cowboys instead? Like it's a good local attraction.
Yeah, like
Cowboys tickets this week are cheaper than this game.
low-key dark horse for the Heisman right now. You have the quarterback for TCU, Max Duggan.
He's not going to be there. He's not going to sniff that stage. They won't give him a fucking voucher for Spirit to get to New York.
If
for this.
TCU wins out, what's their chance of CFP activity?
100.
Yep.
Yeah, they're in.
Yeah, it's a Power 5 school that is undefeated. They would be in, and that would push out another SEC team. People would rage because then you would have, hypothetically, right? Let's say Clemson ran it, TCU ran it, Ohio State and or Michigan run it. Then there's going to be
You're going to have to choose between Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia?
Correct.
That's fucked.
I know.
Because they're all 3 better than these other teams.
oh my God, they would beat the shit out of TCU.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
Sucks, and they're going to have to. But it's not going to get there.
But you've got your fucking fate in your own hand. Win your conference, bitch.
Yes, and if you're their coach, you tell them you went out, you're in the CFP, and that's true.
Do you think like somebody like Saban is having this conversation with his guys at this point in the season? Like, all right, we've got this loss now. We have to win the conference, otherwise we're not making it to the CFP.
It wouldn't surprise me if Saban is pulling out hangers from the closet and beating his fucking players, dude, in private. Like, because he wants to win a championship. That's why I love that. Look, we bitch about Alabama and Saban and all that stuff. Like, he's so great. That's what you want. You want a guy who's eating the same fucking food every day, wearing the same goddamn clothes, who doesn't give a shit about anything in life but to win championships. It's amazing.
So, anyways, is it Delco? What do you think about taking this up, Texas Tech plus like fucking 15.5?
That's probably the move.
I'm gonna do that plus 15.5 because it is. I'm looking. Texas Tech hasn't lost except for last week against Baylor, which is a weird place to play. They haven't lost by more than 14 points in any of their games.
Was it because
even against good
Jesus
teams.
was there?
It's possible. No. Texas Tech is not a religious school.
No. Baylor.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Yeah, he's a very strict Jesus.
I don't know if Christ did the coin toss. That's for the opening kick. I don't touch this game.
Duggan's not bad, though. He's got 2,200 yards.
He's not bad.
2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's it. So, not.
He's not bad, but he's just not anywhere near those top guys.
No, I
mean,
think he might be. I just don't know that they have the fucking receiving weapons that some of these
If
other
they run the
teams do.
table, he's in New York, I think.
Yeah. Maybe.
Because
he's going to end up with
people, though.
But he's going to end up with like 35 touchdowns and be a Power 5 conference winner.
But here's the thing: you can only have 5, right? So you got Bryce Young, you got C.J. Stroud, you got Hooker, you got Hyatt, and then maybe Marvin Harrison Jr.
I don't think Hyatt's going to go. It'll just be one of the Tennessee guys, and then they'll probably have the running back from Michigan.
Yeah, that guy too, man.
If he keeps it up,
yeah. So I just don't see this kid getting there because there's too many great players this year. Some years, yeah, you could sneak in there. Not this one, man. This next draft is going to be loaded too. But I don't touch this game. Next up, North Carolina against Virginia. This one I'm all in on. I don't understand why the spread is -7.5. I've seen Virginia play 2 or 3 times this year. Their defense is all right, but Mac has got these guys fucking balling out, dude. I'm all in on UNC, and this will be in all my teasers, everything.
He's got him balling out on one side of the ball. North Carolina's defense fucking sucks.
It sucks.
It's bad. So this over is kind of attractive, to be honest, but
they can drop some points, and I don't think Virginia can keep up with them.
Virginia can score. I mean, the over-under is 60 it's 59, but it's up there for a reason. But the problem is Virginia, there's a decent chance they get off schedule, and then you're fucked. So I probably don't bet anything on this.
Yeah, I'm taking North Carolina in this game.
I mean, you can take them in a teaser at 1.5.
I'm going to do all the things on this one. I like these kids. He's one of those weird coaches, man. He just figures it out towards the end of the season, and then you look up, and you're like, oh, fuck. They're ranked in the top 10 again, these fucking guys. It's strange. I wish, if Howell would have stayed an extra year like he should have, instead of coming out in the draft, they had a real decent shot this year. But he didn't. This kid's not bad.
May's better.
I thought Sam Howell was fucking good, man.
They're better with May.
If Drake May leads them to the ACC title and they somehow sneak into the CFP, and he's at 29 touchdowns now. There's 4 games left, plus the playoff games, or plus the conference championship game. And he throws up fucking 30, 37, 45. 38 touchdowns. It's going to be hard to keep him out of New York.
He's got 4 games left. He'll definitely.
He's got 5 games left if they win all of them, because they're going to be in the conference championship.
So he'll definitely hit the 40s. And touchdowns if he doesn't get hurt.
So how do you keep him out then, especially if they win a Power 5 conference?
If they win, they got to win it all though, and I don't think they will.
No, I mean keep him out of New York, not necessarily out of the CFP.
It depends on how he looks against Clemson if they do go that far, because the guys we named are all on top ranked teams. Right now, North Carolina is at 17. If they keep winning, maybe. If not, probably not. Next up is Tulane. How are they even ranked here? They're number 19 against Tulsa.
Just out of teams.
I guess they're out of teams. This is -7.5 for Tulane.
They beat Kansas State.
Out on the road.
Yep.
At Kansas State.
Yep. Kansas better win than most teams.
Kansas State is ranked ahead of them for some reason.
Yep.
Kansas State is what,
16
or some shit? Or are they at 18?
Tulane's in the American.
Yeah, they're in the American.
No, I know, but you said they beat Kansas State.
Yeah.
I just think the Big 12 is awful.
The Big 12 is the deepest conference in football.
Yeah. Sure.
It is.
Do they have a top 10 team?
Do they? I have no idea.
They sure don't.
Dude,
They do. Yeah, they do. The fucking TCU. We just talked about TCU.
Oh, yeah,
They do a
that's
top
right.
10 team.
TCU.
Also, it is
one.
It's a better conference than the Big Ten and the ACC. There is way more depth. It is it's harder week in and week out for the top team to win.
There was a point where Oklahoma was the last team in the conference. That 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
If that's your last place team, that's a really good conference.
Sure. If you guys like it, congratulations, man. It's fucking awful.
What do you like? Nebraska and Minnesota?
fucking
What's
awful,
the Big
dude.
Ten? Other than
fucking
2
awful.
teams, what is the Big Ten?
Hey, you got 2 teams in the top 5, kids. What am I going to do? I don't make the fucking rules, all right? I don't vote. I'm not on the board. 2 teams in the top 4 in the nation. What are you going to do about it? The other 2 are SEC teams. What are we doing here?
I'm just pulling for
What the
Illinois.
fuck are we doing here?
I would love if Illinois won that conference. That would be the best thing that's ever happened to me, probably.
Comedically, yes.
Yeah. No, not, I mean, just
Comedically,
for
it would be
me,
hilarious.
I guess comedically for the show, but for me personally.
Comedically, it would be hilarious.
Especially if it was Ohio State and they just drummed them, beat them by 20 points. Because forget about the Phillies winning the World Series. You'd never hear the end of that motherfucker's mouth if Illinois beat Ohio State. in the conference championship. That'd be it. You guys would probably have to fucking fight with swords or something.
Out of comedy, though, it would be I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
What I would mind, well, here's what would grind my fucking gears is a Michigan loss. Other than that, great. I like an Illinois, whatever.
I think that's going to be a good game. But anyways, speaking of good games, Tennessee at Georgia.
Great game. 8.5.
I honestly, the 8.5 after their top edge rusher goes out is a little odd to me. Mm-hmm. I figured it would have gone down to like 3 or 4.5 at that point, and it hasn't. So, Vegas doesn't fuck up really badly in big games like this very often.
Right.
I think Georgia's going to win this game.
You got Georgia.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm going to bet it because I think it's going to be pretty close, and there's no value in betting fucking Georgia 8.5 or even teasing.
Right. I am all in on Tennessee, kids.
I mean, I probably will bet the Tennessee money line because that's the best value, but I don't know that that's going to happen.
At 8.5, I wonder what that money line is going to be. I'm going to head over to MyBookie right now and click it on here just out of curiosity. What's that going to pay off at? Let's say you put 500 on Tennessee because I love this game and I want to be involved in it. I like 500 is going to make me watch every goddamn second. Not that I wouldn't anyways. Oh shit, I'm on a fucking plane. I think we're going to DC, right?
Tennessee is basically 2-1 odds right now. They're plus 235.
Wow, so almost 2.5 to 1.
All right, hang on. I just pulled it up. Oh, so they got it just dropped to 8 over here. Damn, man, people are betting the shit out of this. All right, let's take a little money line bet here.
It opened at 9.5.
Sure did. It keeps falling. All right, so 500 pays off at 1180. So you're looking at close to $1,200 there. I was hoping for more on that at fucking 8, bro.
I will say I have a lot of experience watching Josh Heupel offenses play against Georgia, and Georgia always beat the shit out of Missouri, but we did put points up.
Yeah, isn't it weird to you that the over-under in this game with one of the best defenses in college football fucking history is at 65.5?
Nope.
You know what I mean? Especially with Stetson Bennett on the other side of the ball.
That's a big boy.
I mean, that's a lot
over.
of fucking points.
Sure
man.
is.
Well, they're not the best defense in college
not
football
anymore.
now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but they're still pretty good. They're still like a top 15 defense in college football.
Do you take that over? Let me ask you that.
Hell no. Because you got it. Like these two teams. Look, Tennessee can score. Georgia probably will get at least one fucking defensive touchdown. To be honest. But they can run the ball pretty well. They'll score some points. But if either one of them gets off schedule, they're not hitting 65.5. So fuck that.
So I mean, look.
I mean, I would rather tease it up and take the under because there's no way they're not scoring fucking 72 points.
Right. I'm looking at Stetson Bennett's numbers. He only has 9 touchdowns this year, passing the ball. I mean, I've got Tennessee. I'm taking it, man. I'm taking Tennessee in this one, and this is gonna be a blast. How much are tickets for this fucking thing? Whoa. Last row in this game, $577, dude. Damn. My only regret about this game is it's on at 3:30. I wish this was the night game.
Here's something I don't understand. Maybe I missed something, or maybe it's just like some weird status thing that happens in college football. Mm-hmm. But Carson Beck, who's the second string quarterback for Georgia, is quite a bit. He appears to be quite a bit better. Now, he only has played in garbage time mostly.
Right.
But almost immaculate performance.
So this is who most Georgia fans actually want as their quarterback over Stetson Bennett. If Tennessee starts lighting him up, he might come in this game.
He's completing like 77% of his passes. Like
Georgia fans want him, man.
I understand that it's in garbage time or whatever the fuck, but still, I mean, that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, Georgia fans want him. They want him to play. So we'll see. If they get down... I mean, who else has Georgia played this year? Have they played an explosive offense like this before?
Explosive diarrhea offense.
Yeah. No, they haven't.
I mean, technically, Oregon is a pretty explosive offense, but they played them when they sucked, so you can't really count that. And no, none of these other teams. Florida's got some offensive potential.
They're really one-dimensional and perfect for Georgia to stop.
Yeah.
Quick reminder, Oregon scored 3 in that game against Georgia. Just 3.
So last year, Tennessee scored 17, which is not great. In the 2 years that Heupel was the OC for Missouri and played against Kirby Smart's Georgia, Missouri scored 28 and 29 points. So I mean, he can put up points on a Kirby Smart defense for sure. I don't know that he can beat him though.
Well, we'll see.
Who do you guys have in this? Because I'm all in on Tennessee.
I know they beat Alabama.
Yep.
But I don't know.
Alabama
man.
ain't Alabama.
It just feels like Alabama's a little squishier this year, and
are.
that this is the real fucking test.
Well, here's the good.
But what do you really like about Georgia then? I guess because here's what I have a problem with. Now that this kid is out, their defense isn't as good as it was last year, and obviously that's not Georgia's fault. Every kid went to the NFL and they broke the record. But then it's Stetson Bennett against Hooker, and to me, that's where Hooker lights it up.
This is simply a hedge for me. If Tennessee wins this game, Hendon Hooker wins the Heisman.
He sure does.
100%.
It's
a lock.
I just got to take Georgia just to like kind of cover my bases.
But not only that, but it is a lock. And here is why. We've gone over the rest of their schedule. He's going to win all those games except for the SEC championship. And if it's Alabama again, even if he had just a relatively off game, he probably still wins the Heisman.
Yeah, and look, you got to keep in mind too, like with Georgia versus the Georgia game versus the Tennessee or the Alabama game, that is a huge rivalry game, whereas Georgia's like a secondary rival. This was like fucking 20 years of pain culminating and being exercised. Everyone got up for it. A home game, probably the most hype home game in the fucking history.
Well, we're gonna see how good of a coach Heupel really is now.
And we don't.
Yeah.
We
And
still
if he
don't have faith in
can,
him.
because exactly. But it happens. Not everybody starts out being a fucking Terminator like that,
Right.
And this is certainly the biggest game of his fucking career,
Easily.
by far. And if there's two things will happen here. If Tennessee beats Georgia, then for me it's like Tennessee versus whomever comes out of the Big Ten for the national title, probably, right?
What I would love to see.
But if Georgia does like cover this, beats them by 2 scores plus, then I don't think anybody's coming close to Georgia.
I think the funnest national championship would be Tennessee versus Ohio State. Let them air it out. It would be 66-60 in that game, and it would be a blast.
It'd be fun to watch.
The only question is how good is Tennessee's pass rush and defensive line?
Yeah, I mean they're okay.
They're okay, but where they get
pretty
torched is their secondary. No, the secondary for Tennessee isn't that great. So if you're going to torch them, it's in their secondary, and can Stetson Bennett do it?
But that's the thing, though. If they don't get to Bennett, then they're fucked, right?
I think that they'll be fine on that. If he's on, look, there's been games where Stetson Bennett has been on, and like I've sat there and been like, holy shit, dude, this kid's awesome.
National championship.
I know, dude, and it's he's real hit and miss, and that's why the fans don't like him, because he's hit and miss, and it's like,
I mean, he's got the fucking.
He's on.
He got their
they could
first chip
him.
in 42 years.
know.
So maybe the fans should shut the fuck up.
He's good for life. Like
he's
he
set.
should just be set in Athens forever.
Man, if they win another one this year, that's just shut
Legendary.
the fuck up forever.
It's legendary.
He should never leave Athens. I don't care about getting drafted.
It's
to stay
so
there.
hard to win back-to-back titles in college football. Yeah, he would be a legend.
We've spent enough time talking about these assholes.
We sure have.
And we will spend no time talking about Oregon at Colorado.
Sure won't.
Let's just go ahead and skip that.
Minus 31 there for Oregon, and
I mean, they probably, or Colorado fucking stinks.
who
But
knows? Yeah, who knows? Folsom Field.
Maybe they
Folsom
get
Prison.
fucked up by the Mile High Air or something. Who the fuck knows?
Who knows? Riding Bo Nix. Next up, Michigan State against Illinois.
I'm surprised there's even a spread out on this, because I expect more people to get suspended by the NCAA.
Same. And are they going to play this in prison?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you might as well.
It's in Champaign, Illinois, at the federal prison there.
Champaign. That's a tiny stadium up there.
It's also misspelled, but hey, what are you going to do?
This is Illinois minus 16. I have zero belief in Illinois, nor do I care about this. So, fuck off. Like financially, gambling wise, yes. I care about all these games, but real life wise, no, I don't care about this game.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't tell you to put your money on this. Penn State minus 14 against Indiana. This is at Indiana. What did you think of that game last week with Ohio State? I thought Clifford looked pretty fucking good for 3 quarters.
I think that one of two things happens when really good teams play okay teams. And the thing that's happened this season that's been most common is that the really good team phones it in the first half. And then as soon as they start playing, like as soon as Ohio State started playing, as soon as Michigan started playing, fucking Penn State got blown off the fucking field. I think that's what happened.
Okay.
I don't think it was a matter of like, oh, Penn State's pretty good, man. They just couldn't last. And I don't think that's it.
Right.
Honestly, I didn't see that out of them. What I saw was a lackadaisical effort from Ohio State to start the game, to be honest.
Yeah, the same. But Penn State in this one, this will go in a teaser card. I'll drop this down to 7 and take it. Indiana's terrible. I think you're fine on that. And I actually did it after the Michigan loss as well. And they played Minnesota, dropped that down to 2.5. Penn State was fine. They blew them out. I think Penn State is a pretty decent football team. And they'll cover that 7 for sure. Next up is Oklahoma State against Kansas.
Why is this -2?
Because it's the Big 12, dude.
Like, Kansas has lost 3 games in a row.
It's the Big 12. That's what it is, man. These weird fucking teams that play each other, and who knows? And yeah,
I mean, they're going to score a lot of points. It seems like
we might as well for the Big 12 games. You just put a dartboard behind you and just toss it, and just be like, all right, cool, Oklahoma State.
It's the same with Pac-12, but that's just parity.
Yeah,
I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're not Tier 1 organizations, you don't do things like play well on the road in a hostile stadium.
Bob,
right?
Let me ask you this serious question. Do Kansas students even care about football there, or do they just avoid it altogether?
They did for 2 weeks.
When they were ranked. Yeah.
When game day came, they had a great crowd. The week before against Iowa State, I think, in a game
They sold out 3 straight games.
Yeah, and it's over. That's dead. And it's November now. It's basketball season.
Yeah, because we have, and the reason I ask is, so we have season tickets for the Longhorns because of that Alabama game. It was so expensive, right? It was just cheaper to buy season tickets to it. So we have lower level tickets. When Texas lost 2 games, those tickets, because we hit up Benny, our partner, and he was like, bro, you're lucky to get $28 after fees. He's like, maybe $19 a ticket. For lowers at Texas, their fans just drop off after they start losing. Kansas has got to be the same, I would assume, right? Because tickets are $16.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't care anymore.
All right.
It's over. I mean, they still can have a dream season for them because they might make a bowl game.
Got to make a bowl game.
They're only 1 win away from a bowl game.
But they might not.
They might lose out. They might.
They started out 5-0, and they might not make a bowl game.
Oh, God.
Boy. And that's exactly why you shouldn't bet this,
Yeah, I'm
kids.
not betting this.
Nope.
Probably won't bet the next one either.
This is strange to me. So Syracuse is 22. Pittsburgh is 4-4.
Hey, remember when
1
Pitt
and 3
took Tennessee to overtime?
Yeah.
When?
This year.
Pitt took University of Tennessee?
Yes.
Yeah, week 2.
To
Did they
overtime.
really?
Yeah.
Yep.
They should have won the game.
I didn't watch that game, actually. You know what's funny to me is I stopped caring about Pittsburgh after they lost the first game. I was like, I'm all good on this. What was the final score of that? Just out of curiosity.
34-27, I think
it
it was.
really?
Yeah,
It was like double overtime.
Yeah.
Strange. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not bad as a team. It's just like they don't appear to be very well coached, to be honest. They have a really good running back. He's got 1,100 yards.
Syracuse, that was a shocker against Notre Dame. I was very surprised, and they got housed by them. Pitt -3.5, huh?
Yeah, I'm not taking that.
I think I might. I think I'm taking Syracuse. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to take Syracuse. Matter of fact, you tease this up 7. Give me 10.5 for Syracuse. Let's go. I'm doing that.
You're probably safe with that.
Yeah, I'm doing that. UCF, congratulations. They're in the top 25, so you don't have to cover them anymore.
Isn't Memphis a trap game for them, though?
Oh, Memphis is always a trap game, man. It's a weird school, man.
But do they stink this year, or is this like a legit trap game?
They're okay. They're
okay.
not
All
great.
right.
We're not great either.
No. And UCF is -3.5 in this one. So if you're a fan of either of these teams, you're probably betting on it. But this fringe top 25 shit, it's a no-go. Tickets are $13 if you're in the Memphis area, though. You want to have some ribs, sneak into the stadium, and get blackout drunk.
That's probably the only safe place in Memphis. So,
We win this week, though. Next week will be a top 25 matchup in New Orleans.
yep.
Who do you guys play next week?
Tulane.
Tulane? Okay.
And then if you win that game, you'll definitely get a fucking bowl game. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to get a bowl game.
You're going
either
to get a
way,
bowl game regardless.
Yeah.
We're coming for that New Year's Six bowl game. We're trying to. You got to be top 12, I think. You got to be top 12
for that?
as
Yeah.
a G5
So,
squad.
yeah, you guys would have to win out. Next up is Liberty against Arkansas. Look, Hugh Freeze his name is up for all of these jobs right
Yeah.
now, rightfully so.
But Arkansas has been pretty inconsistent, but they're a pretty good team, right? Like, they got a lot of pieces.
So I was winning on them a lot at the beginning of the year, and then their quarterback got hurt. He's back. So Jefferson is back in this one. This is at Arkansas. I take this down to 6.5, and I'm going to take Arkansas on this. This will be in all the teasers and all that stuff.
Liberty 20.5 on this.
Liberty, 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 Liberty. I'm going to 6.5 on this one, and I'm taking Arkansas, and I think they win by a touchdown.
The only loss that Liberty has is at Wake Forest, and they lost that game by 1 point. Not that Wake Forest is great or anything, but Liberty is a legit ranked team.
Oh, they are, for sure.
Like there's
for sure.
Arkansas is has to deal with being in the SEC.
Yeah, they had Arkansas. Remember we talked about this earlier in the year that they had the hardest schedule of the year.
Yeah.
Because they opened with ranked Cincinnati, and then Texas A&M, Alabama, Mississippi State.
Yeah, if you're Arkansas, what the
BYU,
fuck possibly
Liberty
possessed you? Because to be honest, BYU could be ranked right now.
They used to be.
Yeah.
Liberty, LSU,
Ole Miss.
They got to close out with.
They would have had like 8 ranked games this season.
Gnarly.
Stupid. That's stupid.
Fucking
Why in the
gnarly.
fuck do you lead off your season with Cincinnati?
I don't know. I mean,
Doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Fine.
I mean, they won the game, but still.
Yeah. But this is fun. I watched this game for sure. Next up, Alabama versus LSU. I had LSU fans at a Halloween party on Saturday night tell me that LSU was going to shock the world and win this game.
It would be shocking.
Sure
if
would.
They won this game.
I told I laughed really hard in their faces for a full 5 minutes, and then I said, "Not one goddamn prayer on this earth."
I'll take Alabama -6.
This is. I was going to say this is -13.
Yeah.
Take it down. Who cares? I think Alabama covers anyways. Just because I think he hates this fucker. I think he hates the coach of LSU and that fake bullshit Southern accent and the whole thing. I think he runs them out there. And this is the night game, so everybody will be watching this shit. And it'll be fun. Next up is Kansas State against Texas here. This is Texas -2.5. Oh, God. Help me out. It's the Big 12, okay? Kansas State is 13 in the nation. At home.
Yep.
And they're underdogs.
Yep.
To a team that's not ranked.
Well, they are playing their backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Down in town, Pennsylvania's own Will Howard.
Yeah.
And they haven't beaten Texas in a long ass time.
And they're squeaky either. They'll be bounced out of the top 25 after this. I don't Texas
think
wins
so.
this game.
If Texas beats them, they're not going to be out of the top 25. They'll probably be like 21 or 22.
Yeah. They'd probably put Texas back in the top 25.
I actually think Texas runs them. I mean, I think they beat them by like fucking 21
I mean, if
points.
they get shithoused, it might do it, but I don't know. I don't think isn't fucking Kansas State a tough place to play for some teams?
I'll defer to Bob on this one.
They've been a problem for Oklahoma. That I don't know that they've necessarily been a problem for Texas.
I looked down
It's
their
the little apple.
I looked down their schedule. They haven't beaten Texas at home or on the road in a long ass time, so maybe it doesn't matter. I'm not betting on this game though. I'm not betting on Texas.
I am. I'm betting on Texas.
You make fun of him for betting on stuff, and you're going to bet on fucking Texas?
No. This is to prove my point of the Big 12. Like this is.
You can moralize it however you
is.
want, but you're doing the exact same thing he does.
This is what it is.
Texas is number 26, I think, technically.
Yeah.
They're the first team out receiving votes.
Is that right? Yep.
They get an honorable mention. They get a little plaque.
No, they get their asshole ripped out of their body. Michigan at Rutgers. This game shouldn't even exist.
Whew.
And to be honest, it's only 26.5. This should be 30 plus.
I'm surprised. I think the only reason they did this is to get people to gamble on
Maybe.
Michigan, knowing that they'll probably win by 4 scores in this one. It's strange.
Rutgers needs 2 wins for a bowl game. Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Maryland. They got to beat Michigan State and Maryland.
Michigan State might end up being a forfeit.
Yeah.
Because that team might not exist.
Yeah.
And then they can beat Maryland. They're not going to beat any of the rest of these teams.
No. But Michigan should handily win this game. That's a lot of points. But yeah, I can see them winning by 4 scores for sure. Next up, Clemson against Notre Dame. This is Clemson -4 against Notre Dame. Who you got, D'Anthony? I tune in for this one, by the way.
Yeah, I'll probably watch this game, but
For sure.
I don't think I'll bet it because, I'm going to be emotionally involved. I want Clemson to lose because I just want the entire ACC to be out of the conversation. They don't deserve to be in the conversation for national title, but because they're P5, if Clemson wins and wins the conference title, they will. So if Notre Dame beats them here, that would be fucking great.
Yes, I agree, but I don't think they're good enough. And I think Clemson wins, and I'm going to bet Clemson this game. But I'm with you. I would love to see them lose. And I don't there's bets that I don't mind losing just because I want to see these teams not exist anymore. And I'm with you with Clemson. Just get them out of there. we know who the top teams are. Clemson isn't one of them. So let's get the best 5 in there and then kind of figure out whoever the last one is. I will be rooting for Notre Dame. My money, though, is going on Clemson. For whatever reason, man, they've been able to fucking find a way all year long to 8-0. And I don't think Notre Dame is good enough in any capacity in this game.
No.
So I'm taking Clemson. Next up, we got Arizona against Utah. This is Utah minus 17.5 in this one.
Again, Arizona.
Who's their quarterback?
Stinks, and this should be a much bigger spread. I don't trust this at all.
I don't either, and we still don't know if Cam Rising is playing. We don't even know what his injury is.
He got his asshole torn out.
Oh, that's right. He's the guy. Yeah. By an elk.
Yeah.
By a wild elk.
Yep.
Next up, we got Wake Forest against NC State. This is Wake Forest minus 4.5. Do you see Wake Forest having back-to-back losses here?
Probably not. No, I think they'll probably win this game. I don't know if it'll be by more than a field goal, though, honestly.
I think they win by a touchdown. I'm not impressed by NC State at all. I watched that game last week, that 22-21 game, and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, you may want to take a look at the under because NC State does manage to keep the game score pretty low.
Yeah.
In almost every game they have.
And the under's low. It's 54 for college.
Yeah. If you wanted to take it up to 60, you might that might be something. But Wake Forest can dump it in, too, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Hartman's got 22 touchdowns this year.
He's great. He's probably going to be a first-round pick in the NFL. But, I'm taking Wake Forest in this one for sure. Next up is UCLA against Arizona State. This is the lovely ladies of Arizona State. This is UCLA minus 10.5 in this one at Arizona State. Who you got?
This over seems a little high as well.
66? Yeah.
Like, how many points are we expecting Arizona State to score against UCLA?
Depends what quarterback they start.
Exactly.
Their backup's better.
Yeah. It depends. And they got the new interim head coach and all that shit. Bet this at I do whatever you want, I guess. But I'm not doing this.
I
can't. No.
Emory Jones stinks. They got to start or go.
I mean, UCLA's 10th. They're ranked 10, dude. How? I don't get it. Next up, California against USC.
The Golden Bears.
The Golden Bears against USC. This is this is at USC. Tickets are $50 this fucking game. USC minus 21.5 in this one. Who you got?
I know there's no transitive property, but USC barely beat Arizona. And Cal beat Arizona. I know there's no transitive property. It's just to illustrate that the team is inconsistent.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's my biggest criticism about the Pac-12 and the Big 12.
I mean, that's just the difference between a really good team and a great team.
They're all inconsistent. Yeah.
I don't know.
When it doesn't shock you that any of these teams would lose, that's when you're like, all right, well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I don't want to bet this.
No. But we've got our asses handed to us on these fucking Trap 12 games over the years, man. I mean, just fucking handed to us.
I will watch this, though, because Caleb Williams, he's got an outside.
He's a blast to watch.
He's got an outside shot at being in New York. Like, if they can stay in the top 10 and he has, like, fucking, he makes his way into the fucking high 30s and touchdowns because he's got 2,400 yards. He might be in New York. We'll see.
That Utah game was good enough for me where if the Falcons drafted him, I'm all in. Like, I think he's fucking awesome, dude. He's a blast to watch, this kid. I would watch this just for Caleb Williams for sure. And it'll be the late game. And look, desperation, you throw some, you're maybe losing early on in the day, and then you throw these in a couple teasers at night. There's some fun night games at least that you can at least try to get your money back on.
Yeah.
So pop in on Drinkin Bros Sports at the end of the day. I did this last week. It was at a shitty morning, and I put up new bets for the night, and 7-0 in those, and they all hit. And it was great. So if things go south again, look for me in there, and that might be where this is. In the meantime, I'll be on a fucking flight, dude, for that Tennessee Georgia game, and that hurts my soul.
Well, they have TV on this flight.
Some do, some don't. I gotta book that flight right now because you got the flights home, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I gotta book the flight there right after this. Appreciate you joining us. Go to mybookie.com. Use that promo code DrinkinBros. Double your deposit all the way up to $1,000. Get all your tickets at drinkinbrostickets.com. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the College Football Pick'em Show.